All right. Well, it's been a while since I've been out in the garage. I've been busy with so much other stuff, and the holidays are upon us. So I've got some time now to just chill and get out here. But today's going to be a little different. I got to do some maintenance on my snowblower. Not that we're going to be getting snow soon, as far as I know, but it's been kind of warm and rainy, and I've been wanting to make a few repairs on this thing for a while. It still works, and it would probably be fine if we got a snow, but I got some time, and I'm gonna knock out this, and then I've got a actual Halloween decoration that broke a gear in its drivetrain for snapping arms on a scarecrow that I'm going to try either to repair or find replacement parts to fix it. Um, so that'll be coming up as well. But all that said, I think I'm going to get started on this because the day is getting on, and I want to get this done and take advantage of some chill time. So let's go. All right, so here's my snowblower. My neighbor moved, and when he moved into an apartment complex, a retirement place around here, and he gave me this. It's a yard mechanics machine, and it's been great. Other than changing the oil and keeping the gas empty and running some stable through there during the summer, it runs great. Last year I did all the belts in the tunnel and got everything serviced, and it was trusty and true. So you can see here that my spring back is a little bit on the wampus, but it's all right because so far the electric start has been working just fine. So what I did in the past on this is I made this little button here, put a window regulator motor in there, and built some linkage and got some gearing in here. So you can kind of see what I did there, and that moves the chute, and I got to tell you what a difference that made. Was insane. You wouldn't think it, but bending over and cranking that crank, and just the ability to do it mechanically by way of the electronics made blowing snow so much nicer and easier. The problem I'm having is my little holder for my Ryobi battery has broken. I repaired it a couple of times, but it's done. So I've got another one. These were bought off of eBay, and they were 3D printed, but I can't find this one, so I have a different type. So I got to kind of fix that, and then underneath where my gearing is, I have to kind of fix that. The welds are kind of junky, and what I found out is when I bought my first welder and started an account at my welding store where I get my gas, the gas that they gave me was 100% argon instead of a 2575. So I recently bought a TIG welder, and when I went to exchange the tank, I was going to get the exchange for my MIG welder, and then I was going to buy 100% argon for the TIG. So the guy walks out there and he says, well, that tank is 100%, argon already. So then we started talking, and it was like the walls came crashing in. I realized that for all this time, I have been welding with the wrong gas. And what that means is that I've had to turn up the power and get this thing to melt. So when I used it on thin metal, it worked, but it was still kind of messy, and I never could figure out what my deal was, why I was having so many problems. And then if I got into a thicker gauge of metal, or started messing around with trying to blend a thin piece to a thicker piece, I would have all sorts of problems. Well, short story is, it turned out that I was using the wrong gas, and essentially the welder wasn't even welding. So I then got myself the correct gas, came home, couldn't wait, tried some welding, and oh my God, what a difference. So now I've got the tank over here sitting for the TIG welder, but I'm waiting for a new cart because I need to get some stuff set up. And as you can see, my garage is kind of in disarray because the weather was coming. I had to get rid of the El Camino and get this thing in here. And once I get the cart, then I'm gonna straighten up a little bit in here. But you know how it goes in the garage. You do one project and you can make a mess pretty quick. So all that being said, I'm going to get to taking this thing apart. I got to replace the battery holder, and it's a little bit of a different type. And then I'm going to take this all apart and see if I can redesign the way that the gearing goes in and the linkage that I made to clean it up, because it'll slip sometimes. And then oh, here, I can show you what I'm talking about. Here's the replacement. So this is going to mount on here. So it's a little bit different. I guess it'll be going that way. That doesn't really matter, but I got to mount this on there, drill a hole, and then the motor is right up under here. So I may be moving this around a little bit, but we'll see. So I had some Deutsch connectors that I was going to put on here because they're waterproof, but I don't have the correct gauge. So I'm going to just use some spade connectors now and order up some more Deutsch connectors. That'll be it for this. I think I'm going to have to add some sort of a bungee, or maybe some sort of a spring clip to hold this steady, but we'll see what happens. I think a clip on the back of this that I could pull up and set this with some pressure would be good, but also I think a bungee cord would work. And eventually I think I'm going to change this out to a slide-in situation, but for now this will be just fine. Well, I'd call that a win. Once I figure something out with this, I might just put a little bracket here, like almost like an L shape, so that it'll sit underneath here and just kind of hold that straight. That's probably what I'll end up doing, and then that way, if I have to secure it any better, I can put a bungee or a strap of some sort around that. But for now, I'm going to call that a win, and I'm going to check and see if this thing runs, and on to the next project. So I'm trying to get this started. The starter switch wasn't working. I gave it a few wraps with my butt end of the screwdriver, and it eventually started to turn over, but it's not springing back. I tried pulling it apart. It doesn't want to come apart. It's fused together, so I ordered up a new switch. Once I got it to turn over, the fuel wasn't really making it through the carb, couldn't get it to run. Pulled the bowl apart, carb needs rebuilt. So along with the starter parts, I ordered the carb parts, and I'll bring it back for a part 2.